Hey, grade nines, it's Mr. Smith yet again. It's like we're going to become best friends or something. For question 11, I assigned you question B and D. So typically, what I do when I demo, I usually pick questions that have more negative signs. This one's positive, and I figure if I can show you A, you should be able to do a question that has no negative signs on it, whether they're subtraction or they're actual negative signs, doesn't matter. So I'll do the quote unquote harder one, because maybe not most, but a lot of mistakes, and I tell you guys this, even at the high school level, a lot of mistakes are made because of students not keeping track of their signs. So we have Q minus 1.6 on the right all over 2. Now, as I tried to show you in the last video, you can still use your invisible denominator ones to set up a cross multiplying, okay? So this time, I'm not going to write this out. I want you to do this quickly. So by that, I mean, you know that 1 times Q minus 1.6 just leaves it as Q, subtract 1.6. 2 times, so now we're going to punt the 2 across, and it's 2 times 0.25, okay? Now, I'm going to pause here and just, because some of you might have a question, okay? Here's the same question again, and you could say, this is 0.25 is equal to Q minus 1.6, and it's divided by 2. Well, another way of looking at this is this binomial, we're not going to deal with it until the end. You could actually multiply both sides by 2, okay? Multiply both sides by 2, and what happens here is these 2's would cancel. And then you multiply this side by 2, and basically you get the same, you're going to end up with the same result. Okay. Now, I'm just saying that's a different way of looking at it where you don't necessarily cross multiply. It's sort of the old, whatever you do to one side, you do to the other. This expression was being divided by 2. So I multiplied it by 2 on top, the numerator, and the 2's cancel. And then whatever I do to one side, I do to the other. But some of you may prefer to just stick with cross multiplying. It really doesn't matter. Okay. Okay, so 2 times, forgive me, I forgot that negative sign. So you've got 2 times 0.25, a negative 0.25, so that's going to be, just going to write it up here. You've got negative 0.5 is equal to Q minus 1.6. So, whoops, before I do the equals, I want to show you what I'm going to do to both sides. So why don't we add 1.6 to both sides? So let's add 1.6. You notice how I line up the decimals. And then if I need to, if it makes me feel better, I'll put a placeholder 0 in there. Okay, so this cancels. All right, that zeroes itself out. That's a nice 0 pair. And so a positive 1.6 minus 50, in other words, to give it a money context, this is $1.60 and we spent 50 cents. We've got $1.10 left over, so 1.10. Okay, and that's the answer. And just for the heck of it, I'm going to check this answer, okay? Let's go ahead and check it. All right, so the last few videos I've been doing this without checking. Let's just see if this actually works. So negative 0.25 is equal to 1.10 minus 1.6. Okay, so what are we going to do? Well, 1.10 minus 1.6, $1.10, and you spent $1.60, right? There's your placeholder 0. Like we're 50 cents over budget. In other words, this result of this subtraction, okay, 160 minus 110. Now, I know some of you are saying, Mr. Smith, you just reversed the signs. This is positive, this is negative, and now it's you. I only did that so I can do the subtraction. I know. When I say I know, grade 9s, I am 100% certain the answer to this has got to be a negative. Okay? I'm 1,000% sure that this has to be a negative, right? I'm taking a relatively smaller number and I'm subtracting a larger number from it. I know this is going to have to be 50 cents and it's going to have to be a negative 50 cents. Okay? So we got 50 cents on top. And then what we have here on the left is 0.25, and 50 cents divided by 2 is negative 0.25. And that's the answer. Okay, that's the answer. Anyways, I got visitors now, so you digest that, and I'll be right back. Okay, cheers.